Hi everyone, Courtney Grew in Holes here. Today is a very different video. I will be talking about my books in another video, but today I'm going to talk about something else. No, I wish my shirt said Shadyside High School, but it says Sunnydale High School. But hopefully I'll have some shirts to show off you about the titular Shadyside High School from the Fear Street books, because I actually got a chance to see the first part of the Fear Street trilogy, part 1, 1994. I entered a little tweet contest for Screen and Stream on Twitter, and I got a chance to see the movie early because it comes out Friday on Netflix, and I got to see it early. I had to watch it twice because the first time I tried to watch it, my Wi-Fi went out, so I had to watch it again. So, I have opinions. So this is what this video is going to be about. There might be a few spoilers. I'll try not to spoil it since other people haven't seen it, but a lot of people have been commenting on it about Twitter getting to see it. Other people through, I guess, other sites on Twitter or something, where you kind of had to follow, retweet things. So I got a chance to see part 1, and when I watched it the first time, I got halfway through the movie before my Wi-Fi cut out. So watching first half of the movie, I kind of didn't know what to think. I didn't know whether I was going to like it or not. It was kind of straying a little far from what I think of when I read the Fear Street books. Of course, they're R-rated, so yes, there is blood. There are sexual situations. There are references to drugs. And of course, there's language. So yeah, an R rating is okay. Most of the Fear Street books, when you read them though, some of them are kind of on PG-13 bordering on R, but and of course no drugs, no language, no sex, just gore. So maybe PG-13 with a slight R rating, depending how much blood you would show. So, and I guess if you wanted to actually show blood, I mean, if you didn't show blood or got it to be a different color, then I guess it would be okay for PG-13. But so I didn't know whether I was going to like it, and then when I was able to watch it the second time and watch the rest of the movie, I kind of actually got into it. There was, well, of course, the ending set up to go to 2 more parts, but most of the kills in there are of course, normal slasher, maybe like stabs and throat slashes and stuff. So there's one kill towards the end of the movie that I was really shocked, because I was oh my god, I wasn't expecting. They kind of set up what was going to happen with that, but then I was they're not really going to go there, are they? But then I remembered a couple of kills in the Fear Street books. I was yeah, they went there, and it didn't make me nauseous or make me sick, but it was crap, I wasn't expecting that. So, also happening to somebody I didn't expect it to happen to. So, so it did get me on my toes, so I will give it that. The music, the actual score, is by Marco Beltrami, who did the score for Scream. And a lot of people have been saying that it is very Scream-like. I mean, these kids in Shadyside are, knowledgeable about horror movies and things. So it does kind of have that Scream vibe, and especially with the score, it also has that Scream vibe to it. So, the opening, I think now they've got the first 5 minutes out there for people to watch. So I can't remember if you see that first 5 minutes, it's going to spoil anything for you. But yeah, it is very Scream-like, also in the beginning. So I don't want to spoil it, but if you're a fan of Maya Hawke from Stranger Things, we're not going to be with her for very long, so don't get attached to her. But then you do get attached to these other characters. So I was kind of shocked when, things happen later. And of course the ending set up to go to 2 more parts. And then of course part 3 is going to be 1666, where like this curse thing began. And by looking at the cast list for like part 2 and part 3, it's going to be interesting to see what they're actually going to do with going back to like the 17th century and setting this up. So there are kind of clues thrown in about what this actual curse is like. There are some Easter eggs from the books. The main character, Dina, shares a name with one of the main characters from The Wrong Number, one of the Fear Street books. There are a few last names that come from Fear Street books. Of course, there is the Good family, because there's the sheriff and his brother, who's the mayor, and their last name is Good. So that ties in. Some of the crew members, because I went through like the cast credit crew list for the movies before I decided to watch it, and so some of the crew members have, the characters in the movies have names from those people, but some of them are kind of nods to characters in Fear Street books. There are a lot of main differences. I actually kind of wrote them down. They don't call it the Division Street Mall like they do in the books. They just call it the Shady Side Mall. And of course, they have two towns that get focused in here, and it's Shady Side from the books, and then there's Sunnyvale, which is kind of why I wore my Sunnydale shirt. But then there's Sunnyvale. So basically, Sunnyvale is like the rich, opulent part of town, and Shady Side is nicknamed Sweet Honey Iced Tea side. So I don't get flagged for language or something. But so basically, Shady Side's the crappy part of town. Sunnyvale's the good town. So they're the outcasts in Shady Side. They changed the name of the Shady Side team to the Shady Side Witches, which I think it's kind of weird if your town's centered around witchcraft and stuff. Why would you call your team the Witches? It just doesn't make sense. Like when they had the Tigers as the Shady Side team. Just so I could read all those little cheesy cheers they did in the cheerleader books. So, but it kind of threw me off that they have this dynamic, but I kind of see where it's going with this curse thing, which we're going to get into more. And of course they bring up Sarah Fear as the main witch, and Sarah Fear is centered around a bunch of Fear Street books that go into the past and the cheerleaders and stuff. So trying to not spoil it, people who haven't read books and are get into Fear Street by watching these movies and trying to find the books. So, but yeah, so connections there. And then of course they mentioned Camp Nightwing, which is going to be prominent in the second part. That's the main setting in the Fear Street book Lights Out. I'm kind of looking at my notes here as I'm sitting here going through this. And of course there's this, Stranger Things vibe to this, because Lee Janiak, I hope I'm saying her last name right, she's married to Ross Duffer of the Duffer Brothers, who are responsible for Stranger Things. So that's why Maya Hawke is there, and then Sadie Sink's going to be there for the next part. So there's Stranger Things connections, and it does have that Stranger Things vibe, especially when they're in the mall in the beginning. It reminded me of them being in Starcourt in Stranger Things 3. So it does kind of have that vibe, and then it has that Scream vibe, and once it picked up in the second half, because it kind of starts out like some of the Fear Street books, where it's kind of more like slashery, thrillery, where it's not too gruesome, and then it kicks up in the second half where supernatural elements are introduced, and then of course a gory kill that really made me like, oh my god. So there was that, and the other thing about it is it has a really good soundtrack. It would be kind of cool if they'd put out like a Fear Street soundtrack for part 1, because part 3 they're probably not going to be able to do a lot of like the 90s music, and then part 2's in the late 70s, so I've heard the trailers and like the preview for part 2 used like I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor and School's Out by Alice Cooper, so part 2 could have some 70s throwbacks. The soundtrack for part 1 is very 90s. It's got a pretty good mix. I wrote down some stuff that some of the music that plays. There's like 9 Inch Nails, Garbage, Radiohead, Bush, White Zombie, Portishead, The Prodigy, Soundgarden, Iron Maiden. One of the main characters wears an Iron Maiden shirt. My husband's big into Iron Maiden, so that was kind of nice to hear. And then there was like this one bit where they play a little bit of Sophie B. Hawkins, like, Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover, and I'm like, okay, this is really 90s. So the first half kind of incorporates that music, and then there's just a little bit of soundtrack in the more second half. So, but yeah, it's very 90s, and there are lots of 90s posters and stuff on the walls of their bedrooms, and so very kind of throwback to the 90s. So yeah, in the beginning I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it. Then once it got to like the second half, it started to pick up momentum a little bit, throwing in like those elements from the books, and then of course the ending to set up going into the next 2 parts was interesting. So, because as I was watching, I was thinking, how are they going to go? Are they just going to go part 2 is going to go complete flashback to the 70s, and part 3 is going to be a complete flashback to 1666? So no, it's still going to continue, it looks like, from 1994 and then flashbacking to 1978 and 1666. And a lot of the cast in part 1 and 2 is credited in the third movie, and they're credited as 2 characters each. So kind of interesting to see what that is. Is it just these modern characters playing out people from this time, or are they like reincarnated from these people? So that's going to be interesting to watch. And I can already tell you that part 2 looks like it's going to be a complete summer camp, Friday the 13th slasher kind of thing. Friday the 13th sleepaway camp. So a bunch of horror camp movies. So that's going to be interesting to see where they go. But so I guess I was watching it thinking I wasn't going to like it, because I watched the trailers and I was beginning to think I'm probably not going to like this, but it's good. It's not like, oh my god, it's fantastic. I still think they should take all the Fear Street books and turn it into an actual series and adapt all the books. There are plenty of books to do that in like an hour format and in 2-parters. They've done it with like Buffy and Supernatural and stuff before, so I don't know why they couldn't do that with Fear Street. There are plenty of books, plenty of Fear Street books, so you could make an entire show out of it. So I guess it's an okay introduction to Fear Street for somebody who's never read the books and now they want to read them. So there's that. I'm not sure how diehard Fear Street fans like myself are. Some people have said they actually like it. I haven't really seen anybody say that, oh my god, this is crap, I hate it, it's awful, the next 2 parts are going to be awful. I haven't seen anything like that. So, you know, I guess I'm going to have to wait extra long now for part 2 to come out. Unless they do the same thing they've been doing with, you know, letting people see it early with the first part. Maybe they'll do it with the second part and the third. I don't know. But I feel extremely lucky that I was able to see it before, Friday night. Especially having, my daughter. And I don't really get to do stuff until she goes to bed late at night. And so that's why I had to hurry up and try to watch it, because it had a 24-hour time limit to watch it. And of course, the first night that I watched it, my Wi-Fi messed up, and I had to scramble to see it again before my window expired. But I did get to see all of it, and it's pretty good. I don't know if I'd give it 5 stars, maybe like 4 stars. I wouldn't give it an A+, like maybe an A. We'll just have to see how it goes from there. But, I guess I'm recommending you should watch it. I mean, you're new into Fear Street, it's a good introduction. It's okay. If you're a diehard Fear Street person like myself, it's going to be, a little bit. So, I think the most interesting thing I liked was in the first few minutes. They say, like, the tagline that's written on the Wrong Number book, and Maya Hawke's character says it, and she's selling it to this woman who's buying it for her stepdaughter, and of course she calls it, like, lowbrow horror and calls it trash, which I guess that's kind of what maybe some parents probably thought when these books came out, especially, like, with the cover of The Wrong Number. Got, like, these 2 teenage girls in, like, these, they're not scantily clad, but, like, in little, like, night clothes, night shirt. So probably where she got it from, but I have a copy of the first Evil from the Cheerleaders trilogy, and the reason I have it is they do an interesting thing with these books, because when she's selling the book to this lady, there's no Fear Street R.L. Stine thing. I think it has the Cheerleaders, the first Evil up here at the top as the title. And down here, the author is Robert Lawrence, which is R.L. Stine's, name, instead as the author of these books. And they show this one, the second book, The Surprise Party, then The Wrong Number, and then The Sleepwalker. And they all have this cool design where it doesn't have Fear Street R.L. Stine, it has the title of the book, and then has Robert Lawrence as the author. They just look really neat, and I kind of would like a copy of those books, just to be like, they use this in the Fear Street movie. It was interesting to see those books. And they also have it as a B. Dalton bookstore, which is where most people got their Fear Street books. That's where I got most of my Fear Street books. B. Dalton was the best bookstore there ever was. I mean, you can fight me about it, but they had a lot of good books. So, since this is running a little long, and I have only so much time to make videos, I guess my recommendation would be like Friday on Netflix, tune in and watch part 1 of the Fear Street trilogy of movies, and decide for yourself. But that's my opinion, and as nervously and awkwardly as I delivered it, go out and give it a try. If you don't have Netflix and you know somebody who does and you want to watch it, make a thing of it. Popcorn, pizza, sit there and watch the Fear Street trilogy. Watch part 1 Friday, July 2nd. And then the following 2 weeks, Fridays after that, parts 2 and parts 3 will come out. So, I know I strayed away from my books, but I am a fan of the Fear Street books. So, until I see you next time, this is Courtney Grunholz signing off, and as RL would say, have a scary day.